The September 7th, 2021 Robertson County School Board meeting will now come to order. Please silence all your cell phones and electronic devices and join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Would you please stand? We have some East Robertson elementary students who are going to lead our pledge for us tonight.
Tell us who we're back to.
This is the East Robertson flag group. They were trained by the veterans to learn how to lower and raise the flag each day, and how to properly fold it when I was out there. So this is a fine-looking group, and we're very proud of them, and Mr. Wildy has certificates for them this week at school.
All right. Well, you all mind turning around and telling everybody who you are? And what grade you're in? Good enough.
My friend Rohan, he's in 5th grade.
Gentlemen, I will tell you, I saw the picture of you all learning about raising and lowering the flag, and it was, what, the first week of school? I thought it was the first week of school, and I thought, well, they didn't waste any time at learning what this country's all about. So thank you all very, very much. Appreciate it.
Very good.
Yeah, we'll get their pictures.
There's some cookies over there too.
I'm very excited because the young man second from the left, I had the exact same haircut, buddy. That makes me so happy. Just long in the back.
Yeah.
Nicely done, gentlemen.
Now we're doing homework.
I tell you what, East Elementary had a great first week. They learned about raising and lowering the flag, and their principal killed a snake on the playground. Is that about right?
We're in a traffic jam too.
Yeah, we saw that one too, but I want you to mention that. We fixed that one.
We've got to stop bringing these children in here whose parents I had in first grade, okay? It just makes me feel old every time. Okay, Dr. Causey, would you please read our mission and vision statements?
Yes, Madam Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, students and their achievement must be the focus of our every meeting, our every plan, our every decision. The mission and vision statements of the Robertson County School System are the expressions of what we believe and what we expect. And as Ms. Smith pointed out, our mission and vision are over there on the board. We believe that our mission is to ensure each student is prepared to succeed in life. And our vision here in Robertson County Schools is that Robertson County Schools will enable all students to reach and exceed high academic and career standards, but while empowering them as well to succeed in a technologically advanced and culturally diverse society.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith?
Hey, board members, you have before you items on the consent agenda. Our regular agenda, I'm going to ask you to remove item 7C, which Dr. Causey recommended that we do. So making that one change, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. White, second by Mr. Rice. Any questions? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, we'll go to recognition of students, teacher, and school achievements.
If I can, if you all don't mind, hopefully my glasses won't fog up. If you notice inside the room, and we had this in the planning session beforehand, you'll see the number 5 with some blue balloons. Every year about this time, and we wish we had them a lot sooner than now, but we actually get our achievement scores based on the number of students or the percentage of students that are on track or mastery based on TCAP and EOC scores from the year before. Of course, we received those scores, and they weren't great. I'll be quite honest with you, and they weren't great across the state. And then everybody looked at each other and went, "What did we do last year?" You know, well, we've been through a pandemic and still going through part of that. But then, not too long after that, we got what they call TBOS scores, and that stands for Tennessee Value Added Assessment Scores, and they are showing the growth that our students made. In Robertson County, for the first time, and I don't think anybody's challenged me on this just yet, we were a level 5 for Robertson County as a school system. So first of all, I ask that you applaud that, because that's that is literacy, that is numeracy, and very excited about the work that our students did. And what that means is a level 3 is when students grow the expected amount based on all the other kids like them across the state of Tennessee. So when you compare us to some other districts that are like us, whether it be Putnam or some others, then you look at our kids compared to their kids, and your typical, if they were in a typical classroom in the state of Tennessee with a typical teacher, then level 3 is considered expected growth. Level 4 is more than expected growth, and of course level 5 is far exceeds expected growth. And 2 years ago, pre-COVID, I remember we visited schools who got a level 5, and I think we had 5 schools that year, 2 years ago, if memory serves me, and it was the most we'd ever had. This year, out of 19 schools that actually get TVOS scores, 11 of them scored a level 5 on TVOS. So that's so many that we couldn't actually get excited about all of them in the same night, because we wouldn't have been able to fit everybody in here. But we are very, very, very proud of the ones that we are going to acknowledge this evening. They are, I will say this, the only title school that we had that did not receive a level 5 doesn't get TVOS scores because they only get up to 2nd grade. It is the work that our administrators, our teachers, and our students have done to make this happen is just nothing short of extraordinary in a time where everybody else just went, well, it is what it is. Our folks stepped up, they stepped in, they worked harder, and because of that, our kids grew. As we told one of our schools last week, imagine if the goal was to move them from where Mr. Bellis is sitting over to this chair in front of me. That's a level 3. What our schools did, moved them from where Mr. Bellis is sitting over to where Ms. Sheila is sitting. And I think that is just a testament to what you all have done. So we want to recognize them one at a time. I will start with Crestview Elementary School. I will welcome Ms. Lori Smith, Ms. Finch, yes, Ms. January Finch, and Ms. Lorraine Johnson is here to accept their certificate. It simply says 2021 TVOS Level 5, presented September 7th, 2021, signed by myself and Ms. Homer. And you get to add another banner. You can add another.
Third year.
This is the 3rd year in a row Crestview has been a level 5 school. You mind if I pass it away? Okay. All right.
Yeah, thank you. 2, 3, and one more.
Good job, Lane. And I cannot wait for the day to come back to Crestview and to do the morning song and to celebrate this with you. We had a cake, if you remember this. It was very- Secondly, we have right down the street from us, I think this might be first time, Ms. Chandler, we think, maybe? Very, very excited that Cheatham Park, the Park Elementary School is a level 5 school. Of course you can hug him. All right.
That's good. Okay, 2, 3, and one more. Awesome.
Very proud. Done some superb work at Cheatham Park Elementary School. It's one of my favorite places to hang out, and where I have the opportunity to eat lunch from time to time as well with Dorito nachos. The third school we have, also repetitive for their level 5, is Coopertown Middle School. Miss Amy West is their principal.
Okay.
Miss West, what Coopertown Middle continues to do with a diverse population out there is just, it's remarkable. Very, very proud of the work that you do. It's very exciting to tell that community about your level 5 status multiple years when they ask questions. And I just like that kind of stuff. And I don't know, very, very excited to talk about the next school because it is, I still consider it home, Miss Amanda, if that's okay, because it is where I started in Robertson County, and it will always have a special place in my heart as well. But once again, Christ Elementary is also rocking it out there on the highway. Christ Elementary is a 2021 TBOS Level 5. I know, and I'll talk. I'll tell you. You tell her. I'll talk about it. And thank you, Ms. Manning. As she, just like any good leader, first of all, when you're a principal of a level 5 school, we steal you. Miss Angel Williams was principal last year, but we also know of Miss Holden, and we took an exceptional assistant principal from Springfield Middle, sorry Doc, and made her principal of Chrysler, and just expect just some wonderful things, and very proud of the work that you're already doing at Chrysler. And that does bring me to our other middle school. Grant, I'm going to tell you, just remarkable, buddy. Just absolutely remarkable with what you've done at Springfield Middle School, showing that growth for all grade levels, and very proud of the work that you and your staff are doing. So our 5th school tonight is Springfield Middle School. Get to be in 2 pictures. We are truly, and I can say this in all honesty, this is not me blowing sunshine or anything like that, but we are truly one step away from being an exemplary school system. That is huge. We said it in the planning session 4 years ago. I still got it. It says Robertson County is in need of improvement. And because of the work that these principals have done and our teachers have done, we are truly one step away from being an exemplary school system with 11 level 5 schools. So thank you all very, very much for your hard work. And we look forward to getting everybody else in October. Good stuff.
Man, that was good, yeah. Okay, we'll move to our personnel report.
All right. Let me find my way, my note. You will notice, once again, HR has been quite busy. We have a total of 39 personnel actions, 1 retirement, 7 resignations, 7 transfers, 4 leaves of absences, and 20 new hires You've seen the list of positions we still have, and we're still hiring. So if anybody knows of a high school math teacher, please let us know. We will handcuff them to somewhere and keep them here. We have a total of 78 classified actions, 1 job abandonment, 2 dismissals, 1 leave of absence, 12 transfers to retirements, 10 resignations, and 50 new hires. There for the longest time, we were quite busy on the software that allows us to push these folks through. You will notice, by the way, that that's everything from substitute teachers to volunteer coaches, bus drivers, you name it, substitute, school nutrition folks, everybody that really falls under classified. I mentioned school nutrition. I do have their separate report now, but you will see 4 total actions there with 1 new hire, 1 transfer, 1 leave, and then 1 resignation at Greenboro High School. And that concludes the personnel report unless anybody has any questions.
Okay, does anybody have a question? No. Okay, we'll move on to our expense comparison report.
Not a whole lot to talk about at this time of year. After 1 month of the year, we really don't have a whole lot of reporting. Sheila is probably the easiest report we do all year long. But you will notice when compared to last year, we are trending about the same. We have spent some funds to take care of some things going on at the beginning of the school year. Don't get excited about property tax and sales tax. It just hadn't been reported yet. So once that's reported, then of course those numbers will go up. You will see electricity is relatively the same as it was this time last year. Still kind of left over. If you look at July, still had, I think, a couple weeks of camp going on in July. So that's reflected there as well. Diesel, gasoline, all of that relatively is the same. Gasoline, of course, as we trend towards more one or the other, then that will catch up once we fill that tank up. Is that about right? So appreciate you looking at that, and we'll entertain any questions that you might have.
Any questions on the expense comparison report? Okay, we'll move on to approval of the 2021-2022 cooperative activities.
And these are not in your packet, but they were a separate folder. If you all get a chance to look at those, of course, every single year, all of our PTOs and those kind of organizations have to submit application to be part of that. And if you look through those, I ask for your approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Ayers, second by Mr. Reed. Any questions or discussion? Lots of reading to do, wasn't it? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, then we'll move on to approval of 2021-2022 school budgets.
Same thing as our cooperative activities. They were also in the second folder because we do have a different budget for every single school. Relatively the same as far as the money they keep in-house. Our finance department, of course, Wenda and everybody does a really good job at keeping us straight on those. And I do ask for your approval of those as well.
We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rice. Is there a second? Second by Mr. White. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0. Next item is approval of 2021-2022 benefits package.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, you do have in your folder the last year's health premiums, and then when compared to this year's, you will see all of these different tiers that we offer our employees, including you got the Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna Local Plus, Cigna Open Access, and then the different plans with the Premier, the Standard, the Limited, and the Local, and how much each of them are. Now that's premium, and if you recall, then the district pays 90% of that. If you notice, they did go up, of course, but those changes, Sheila, remind me, they take effect in January, correct? So as far as budget goes, we budget a half a year each year, and then we have to budget the other half next year. So I do recommend approval of these premiums.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. White. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rice. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0. Next item is approval of ESSER 3.0 application.
Just for the public that is here, we did spend, Dr. Hollingsworth, our supervisor of federal programs, spent quite a bit of time in the planning session before the board meeting to go over ESSER 3.0, which is actually the new, I say newer, grant from the federal government. It was enacted March 11th, 2021. For Robertson County, it is to the tune of $14,762,182.91. In your packet, you do have everything that was talked about in the planning session. And just to let me skip through it, just so I can give just a brief, I will so not do you justice, but I will at least talk about the process where with this new grant, it was pretty, I guess, intense as far as getting community outreach, getting our community surveyed, talking about what they want to see these funds being used for, and everything from, in this particular grant, instructional materials and programs at a little bit shy of $2 million, more time after-school tutoring at $1.6 million, support for educators, everything from our grant coordinator to other mentors and intervention teachers at $878,000. Social emotional supports, which includes both mental and physical health there. More technology, which includes taking our one-to-one initiative down to the 6th grade. Very excited about that. And then transportation for after school, and then building and facility maintenance, in which we've included Greenbrier Middle School renovation, possible addition, and then our facilities project manager position. And you will see to the tune of $14,762,182.91. And based on the conversation that we had before the meeting, I ask for your approval.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. Hurd, second by Mr. White. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0. Next item is approval of substitute salary scale. Excuse me.
Well, last year, finding a substitute was kind of like trying to find gold at the end of a rainbow, and our principals will tell you that. This year, as we started looking at substitutes and bringing them in as well, we did have quite a few questions about the pay. And it's been a question for quite a while. Our pay used to start at 55, and then if you had a bachelor's degree, it went up to 65, and that's a day, and then 75, and then if you remember, the board voted, I think 2 years ago, to add a 4th tier for retired teachers. And so we made that one at 85. And as we've started the year, of course, and we've always known it, we just got a lot of data that says that's just not going to be enough to attract the folks that we need. So we added $15 to each tier, so now we started $70 a day with a high school diploma if you wish to sub for us and go through all of that. And then our retired teachers will actually get $100 a day to sub for us. It is in the budget based on the number of subs that we think we're going to need this year, because we did budget more than we, a lot more than we budgeted. We budgeted than we spent last year. So I do recommend this new tier, and then we'll start advertising very quickly. Again.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hurd, second by Mr. Ayers. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passed 6-0. Next item is approval of funds for Walk to School grant for Watauga Elementary School with the city of Ridgetop.
Mayor Bollinger of Ridgetop reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and his office did. They're in the middle of trying to get this Walk to School grant. And if you notice, I just printed you off what they gave as far as, I'm not a real big fan, I talked about this last month, as far as trying to do other folks' work for them, or as far as paying for it. But this truly is going to go towards our kids who walk to Watauga every day. And if you look, everything from, you've got sidewalk, you've got signs, you've got all of these, but they're needing $14,400. It's kind of like an in-kind type of deal in order for this to happen. And I thought it was, we talked about Watauga. We've talked about kids walking to Watauga for a long time, Mr. Fitch. Everything from, sewer to everything else. And I think that this is a good reason to spend these funds to help them actually up some of that and make it safer for our kids who are walking to Watauga. And it's not a lot of money that we can budget pretty quickly.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. White, second by, no, heard, okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Reed. I heard it on that side, I just wasn't sure who it was. So we do have a lot of kids that walk to school?
We do. Mainly, they're behind Watauga, and they come up that way.
Okay.
But this is also gonna provide those kids who are walking, either after school, down to the stores. And we had one of our kids, run across the highway, if you remember that.
I think I remember that one.
I think you do, but I think this is truly gonna help any kid who chooses to walk, to Watauga. I'm saying on that side of the highway. Of course, we've got the school zone there as well, but.
And they still do cross the highway.
Yeah,
I mean,
Okay.
several cross the highway every day.
it's where the Cokes and the pizzas are across the streets.
Yeah.
Is the $14,000 the difference, like, where did that number come from?
I think it's coming from a difference between what they have to pay and what the grant's gonna give them.
It's a percentage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0.
I would like to mention something on this grant, because several years ago, I started the grant and reached out. Mookie Betts' mom is who was the person that, for the state of Tennessee, that you had to go through. She no longer works for the state of Tennessee. But, no, this is a grant in which the state keeps a close eye.
Oh, okay, our next item is approval of school board policies on first reading.
Welcome, Ms. Dickerson, up to the
Good
podium.
evening. As a result of changes made by the Tennessee General Assembly and the State Board of Education, TSBA updates to pre-existing policies are being presented for your approval. Additionally, one new policy is included. The first policy is number 3.211, new project planning and implementation. In this particular update, it simply says that plans for new facilities are no longer required to be submitted to the Commissioner of Education. So that's why that change has been made. Any questions? In the second policy presented, number 4.101 on instructional standards, this is a new policy. Several recent changes to state law impact the materials and content that can be included in classroom instruction. Adopting this new policy is not required by state law. However, doing so shows compliance and support with the new standards. Any questions there? The third policy, number 4.204, summer school. Several changes were made during the special legislative session that impact summer programming. Certain factors, as outlined in the new state law, determine student eligibility for these programs. Any questions? The fourth policy, number 4.205, enrollment in college level courses. The proposed updates to this required policy include objective enrollment criteria that students have maintained a C in prerequisite courses and have scored a minimum of a level 2 on TCAP. Any questions? There was a fifth policy included in your packet, and I'm going to ask that we defer that until October.
That 4.7?
4.700.
Okay. Does anybody have a question, first of all, Ms. Dickerson? No? Do we have a motion to approve these policies?
Motion to approve all 4 policies
Motion by Mr.
mentioned.
Motion by Mr. Hurd, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. White. All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Ms. Dickerson.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is approval of Building and Grounds Department and work truck purchase.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you look in your binder there, you will see the information regarding a work truck needed by Building and Grounds to the tune of $15,650. We actually budget $50,000 for vehicles and other items of that nature coming from Robertson County Automotive, and I request your approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. Reed. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0. Next item is approval of bid tab for Coopertown Elementary School Phase 2.
I'm so glad to be talking about Phase 2. I will tell you, very, very excited. Back just, I guess, a week or two ago, our Lyle Cook Martin, our architects, along with Martin Kobe, our construction management company, did bid out Phase 2 for Coopertown Elementary School. That includes, the main items of that would be the renovation of the current cafeteria into an auditorium, the kitchen into a classroom, actually a couple of classrooms, as almost like a green room and an art room, and very excited. The library is going to be extended a little bit, and then some other, I'd say, miscellaneous items. And then the alt bid that you see on there is the new floor for their gym. And if you look at the lowest bid, and the one that I'm recommending approval is from Fellowship Construction, they're out of Bon Aqua, Tennessee, and they were the low bid when you add both of those together. I will tell you, it was our original intent to actually do the cushiony rubber floor like we've got at Crestview. That's all well and good. I found out if it's a brand new building and you can do it from scratch, in this case, there's too much of a drop between the 2 floors. So then you'd end up having to put, the architect mentioned, almost like a rubber ramp going down, and give it about 2 weeks with elementary kids, and it would not be pretty. So actually, this price is wood, going back with wood, and very very excited about them having, especially when you go if you go the far corner when you walk in that gym, it's a little rough. It's I think we've got a few bugs that have gotten hold of it and everything else. So that's a good alternative. If you do look at the good alternate, if you look at the total price, when all's said and done, right now we actually still have about $600,000 left in that project to do other things with, and that includes the sign, some other things that just weren't in the first bid. But if anybody asks how we're looking on funds, we're looking pretty good. So, the roof for the current building, I just went blank, cafeteria, needs to be replaced. We were sitting there looking at it, if you recall, and we'll use some of those extra funds to do that. So we're going to be able, at the end of the day, we're going to be able to do pretty much everything we want to do with the grant and not have to go back asking for any more funds. So I would recommend approval of the Fellowship Construction bidding.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rice, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Reed. And
Hey.
I'm sorry, there's something about, y'all are sounding too much alike or something.
Let's start raising our
I don't
hand.
know. But I'm gonna start looking this way a little more, okay? All right, we have a motion by Mr. Rice, a second by Mr. Ayers. Any questions or discussion?
When do we think we'll be able to actually start on Phase 2?
I can give you a lot more information after tomorrow. That'll be one of my questions. We've got meetings every 2 weeks there, and that'll be questioned. It will, once it gets approved, then we'll start pushing forward. The timeline, of course, is by end of December when they'll be done. So, and then I know we've talked about landscaping, we're not gonna plant trees in the cold or anything like that. We'll have to wait to do that in spring, but everything else should be able to get done within the next, what is that, 4 months? I think, 120 days, whatever it is that they've been given.
Any other questions? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0. Next item is approval of Transportation Department request for 3 surplus vehicles to be transferred from the Robertson County Sheriff's Office.
One department's loss is another department's gain, right, Mr. Heineman? Mr. Heineman is always looking for a way to do things do more things with less. And, I'm just very, very proud of the work that transportation is doing these days, especially in the middle of COVID and some of our drivers that are out. But if you notice, he's talked to the sheriff's office, he's looked at the vehicles, you will see 3 of them there. We do so many, I'm gonna say small routes, 1 child here, 2 children here, and sometimes we have situations where one of the guys from the bus shop has to go out to a bus, and finding a vehicle is sometimes very difficult. And so we've been offered these 3 vehicles, they've been surplus, and he's talked to the captain, and I ask for your approval based on this recommendation that you have made.
Okay.
Mr. Heineman, you want to add anything, or are you good? You're good.
Are you planning on leaving all the decals and lights on them just for in case we need them?
Actually, when we got the other vehicles, I had to sign a form, and we were not allowed to use them until we removed them. You will, that's a big job. Yeah, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. White, second by Mr. Ayers. Any other questions or discussion?
I will say, as a parent of the child who receives one of them services, it is phenomenal, and your guys are doing an unbelievable job. I mean, it's a blessing to us. It's the first time we've actually used your personnel to bring my child home, and it's been wonderful. So your staff and you, I can't thank you enough for what you guys do. As a personal experience, I just want to say thank you.
Just out of curiosity, out as an insurance guy, how are do they transfer from one department to another? Does that change the insurance on them?
The insurance, no, our insurance will pick them up. Once we have
Regardless
it,
of-
yeah.
Okay.
We just moved that over, but yeah, we'd have to use the sheriff's office insurance, that'd be awesome. But no, our school system insurance will pick them up.
I just wondered how it was, you added the vehicle specifically on that.
Yeah, we have to turn that into a key risk every year, and we'll just add those vehicles to the list, Sheila. That's what we'll do.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
One question, I guess. Do these vehicles have to go under the same guidelines as our buses as far as mileage, transport, and students? Okay.
Anything else? All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes 6-0.
And for the record, the lights that I have on my vehicle, nobody pays attention to those either. The morning that we went out to Joe Burns because of the wreck, of the gentleman that did not fare too well in that wreck, I had my lights on and nobody really cared. So it is what it is.
Oh, well. Okay, our next item is election of school board officers. Our first one will be the chair. Do we have a nomination for chair?
Madam Chair, is it feasible if I make a motion to leave officers as our current status, or do we need to go through the full process?
I don't see you. I was gonna say that.
Make a motion that we leave A, B, and C as is. There's no objections?
So we have a motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Rice. Why did somehow I get the feeling you all had this planned? I don't know. Motion by Mr. Rice to leave all 3 as They are now. Mr. Hurd made the second. Any questions or discussion?
Congratulations.
Thank you. All those in favor of approval, make it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passed.
Now you can say congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, okay.
I already knew the answer.
You
but
gotta put up with
congratulations.
me for another year.
Okay, well, let's move right on to the Director of Schools report.
We'll try to make this quick. I know you all had a long night, been here since 5:30, and some of you had to fight the fair parade. So just to remind you, and we already mentioned Coopertown Elementary School, we do have a meeting there tomorrow. The original date to have the cafeteria and the kitchen turned over was the 9th, which is like in 2 days, and I don't see that happening. We have some training to do. However, it is, physically, the cafeteria is absolutely gorgeous, and would like to get that out there very quickly. Very proud of that. We're ordered tables, and those, of course, those are back ordered for quite a while, but we've got plenty of tables to use until they get there. So you all have seen some of the pictures I've shared with the chairs and the desks and everything else, and just something about sitting in a new chair just makes an elementary kid happy. I don't know what it is, but they quite happy. One of the things we brought up in the planning session is McKinney-Vento. And I just want to share with you, I had the pleasure of being in their departmental last week. And just to put things in perspective for you, last year we had 183 students identified as homeless under the McKinney-Vento. This year, here we are, just a month into the school year, and we have 116 already. So you can do the math. We've got a lot of families that are doubled up. We have families that are either at the Springfield Inn, and we're trying to work out a deal with the Holiday Inn Express to give some of those folks a break, and just trying to just help our families the best way we know how. And a lot of them are coming from actually the West Coast, as we already mentioned. So it is interesting. You always wonder, how do you find Robertson County? And believe it or not, I think they hear a lot of good things about our school system. A lot of these families hear a lot of good things about our EL program and the things, because that community, that Hispanic community, they talk to each other. And they say, these are the resources that we're getting, this is the help that our kids are getting. And there's a lot of conversations there. But I digress just for a second, I apologize. But just know that our folks are working very, very hard to make sure that those, and you know about wraparound services. Anytime we talk about a McKinney-Vento child, I can promise you, federal programs, student services, transportation, school nutrition, CIA, everybody is all hands on deck to make sure that child gets what they need. So just so proud of the work that our folks do. Just to give you an update on Springfield High School real quick, irrigation was finished today. We're talking about the soccer field. The fence on top, we've got a retaining wall. The fence on top of that should have been finished today or tomorrow. It's been a little too wet to sod, but that's coming. And then hopefully by the end of this week. And then, of course, the fencing that will go around it again to keep all the soccer balls going into the ravine will be shortly thereafter. So just very excited about that. You all voted on that bid a few months back, and Charles DeWeese is working on it relatively quickly. We don't know if the sod's going to have enough roots now. This is something you probably know more about than I do. But as far as for the spring, but we'll definitely have girls on it next fall. So that's the plan. Just to let you know that we are definitely in touch with folks to look at property on 76 for a new elementary school based on the 5-year facility plan that the board voted on, was presented to the county commission. Tomorrow at 3:30, Ms. Levitt, thank you for that announcement. We'll be having the first teacher advisory council meeting. If you remember, that was discussed earlier, and we have one representative from each school. They have already sent in concerns and things that we are working on. So that process has already started, but they're meeting tomorrow to discuss some of those fixes that we have. So know that has started. We already mentioned the Coopertown meeting. I do want to give a shout out. Cody Capps, who's the principal of Phoenix Academy, down there along with Dr. Holmes. He will be presenting to Rotary tomorrow on behalf of not only Phoenix, but also the social emotional learning programs that we have here in Robertson County. And if you know anything that is behavior related in Robertson County, Cody has got his thumb on. So very proud anytime any of our folks talk to the community about the work that we do. I want to give him kind of a kudos there. Education committee meeting will meet here tomorrow. I always have 2 days, but it's tomorrow because it's Wednesday at 5 o'clock. If anything changes, I'll let you know. Next Tuesday will be ACT Counts. They're meeting about that tomorrow as well at Honeysuckle Hill Farm.
When did you say?
The 14th, it is next Tuesday. Right, Doc? All right. And just to let you know that I will be at the Superintendent Study Council from Sunday to Wednesday. Just feel free to call me. I just won't be in Robertson County. Let you know, for those who are interested, that Experience Robertson County, which always tries to do somewhat of a job to kind of talk about the school system a little bit, and depending on the stop that you make, is coming up on Saturday, September the 11th. And then, believe it or not, Monday the 20th is a professional development day. So there is no school on the 20th. And then the 22nd, which is a Wednesday, is our annual college night at the center. But it's actually college and career, and I think there's going to be a few other organizations out there as well. Doc, did I miss any?
Our adult high school will be featured there for the first time.
So just something that started as just a few colleges for College Fair Night has turned blossomed into something.
When is that?
large. It is the 22nd. It's a Wednesday. That's when we get the center for next to nothing. So, and that is all I have, Ms. Hogan.
Okay. Anybody have any old business to bring before us? Any new business?
Whether it's new business or just a comment, we spent 3.5 hours, or 3 hours, either in planning session or board meeting, and an agenda. There's one thing that has not been discussed, that's been on the media and at everybody else's board meetings for the past month, and that's COVID-19. And, you know, other school boards are making plans, having an alternate plan, mask mandate, no mask mandate. Just want to know where we're standing. I know we're seeing COVID numbers daily, but just want to know where we're at. Anything that we may need to do, may have to do, or
Well, I will tell you, with the, and then, I don't know if that question was directed towards me, Mr. Herder, or anybody, but right now, if you count the kids that are in seat, and you count the kids that are attending class online at home, our attendance is right at 88%, which in a typical year would be horrible. In a COVID year, I think it's pretty good. And we do have an overwhelming, I'm not gonna say majority, because honestly, we don't get that many emails or concerns from parents, but the ones we do get for the most part are, how do we keep our kids in seats? And I know that when we turned the contact tracing over to the health department, that actually a lot of kids came to school again because they're not getting notified. But we continue, our school nursing program continues minute by minute to try to make sure that the kids that are sick, it doesn't matter if it's COVID, it doesn't matter if you're just showing symptoms of the virus, we want you to go home. And with that being said, we do have a couple of districts out there with a mask mandate that have pretty much gone against any opt-out request from their parents. We spoke of that today, and I think we're going to have a lot of things that we learned from that. But right now, the request that we made for our kids to wear masks, our staff to wear masks, when they cannot separate themselves. For the most part, the adults are doing a pretty good job. The kids, some of them are. I would say a few kiddos were, started wearing them the next day. and some of them didn't, so.
Not in Wacaga.
So that answers that
That's
question.
not the case with Wacaga.
Does that answer your question?
Pretty much, just, I noticed the staff and all here tonight wearing masks. I didn't know whether that was coming from our recommendation to
Yeah,
the
it
kids
is,
and
yeah,
all.
sure is, yeah.
I'm not a big proponent of masks, but I just want us to be prepared if something that we need to go forward. But,
We are definitely on the call, every Tuesday and every Thursday, we're on the call with local health groups, both me and our nursing coordinator, to find out what the community spread looks like. And of course, and we know what the school spread looks like, because we get those numbers every day. When I say spread, we know the number of positive cases that are reported to us by the parent or by the health department. And most of the time, we find out from the parent long before the health department notifies us.
I really feel like that week, 10 days, we're gonna see a very large spike here in this county. I think we've got a super spreader going on this week that we should see some numbers increase. Hopefully not, but if we don't, maybe that's a sign that we are hitting our peak, hopefully.
I will tell you, with the amount of staff that you've seen with COVID, the ones that are being hospitalized are the ones that were not vaccinated. And that's self-reporting, that's not anything that we require, but just know that is something that we're trying to get the word out. But most of the time, those people are telling their story themselves.
I think I asked, our staff is about 80%.
Yeah, but that 20% was in pockets, yeah, you have to remember. So we do have, the schools that have I'd say a higher number of non-vaccinated staff is where you see most of your positive folks.
I'm glad I was, at least 80% of us, their staff are, that's,
And you're also talking about over 1,000 staff too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a large number. So, the 10 per day or the 5 or 6 or whatever we see, you think that's a lot for a day, but it's also, it's a drop in the 1,000 plus.
it says a lot of 80% when the junior population is in the 40s.
Right.
I think that's encouraging
It is.
for us.
And what we've learned, of course, the first couple of weeks, they were called breakthrough cases, those that were vaccinated that ended up with COVID. And now, honestly, I'd say we've got a lot of our staff that are COVID positive that were vaccinated. But a lot of them are teleworking, actually, and they're able, they feel well enough to do that. And if you can do the job that we've asked you to do during the day, that includes get on teams, that means teach classes, that means attend meetings virtually, wherever the case may be, then we've approved you to telework, because you're doing the job. If you can't, then you've got sick days at that.
These, I'd say, 5, 6, 7 positive cases of staff a day. What kind of impact, contact tracing are we having with those as far as staff?
What they tell us, who they've been around, and the principals do it, I don't know how much help y'all can give, but for the most part, you have an adult that will tell the health department, these are the folks that I've been around with. But once again, if they're vaccinated, they come to school.
Just thought that we need to at least say that we talked about COVID out here. Every other school district is.
Okay. All right, we'll move to comments by board members. Mr. Rice.
Like Mr. Hurd said, I hope that we're all mindful of this week and just be as safe as possible, as I hope next week is our numbers aren't reflective of our behavior this week. So stay safe, and I'm awfully proud of the 11 schools and all our schools. I was, when you sent that out, I kind of read it twice. And not that I don't always expect it, but it was, what happened last year, it was very well pleased of seeing that. That's very good news, and we can always use some good news. So thank you to all the staff that made that happen.
You've been asking for them numbers for the last 6
I know.
months.
I'm just excited in November is the state of the schools, and the minute we got that, I thought, well, it just wrote itself.
Yeah. I'm turning mine in now.
Ms.
Again, I echo what Scott says, thanks to the teachers, administrators, students, staff, cafeteria workers, everybody that, transportation, that make the wheels go round. And, hey, it's a joint effort, and I know that everybody is doing what they can. So thank each and every one of you for motivating these students, and thank the students for the job that they're doing. Glad to hear that the teachers committee is meeting. I would like, if there is something that comes out that needs to be shared, I would hate for that to wait a month before we hear it. I would like to see that so that we can discuss it in the planning session. So a week or so after they meet, put something together. And that way we can have some conversations going back and forth with this committee. I would like to know, as you're putting things together, a timeline per se of Greenbrier Middle School, how we're gonna work it. I know we have a have-to-be-done date by 2024, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we know we got a lot of stuff gonna go on between now and then. So I'd like to see that timeline, just so the community can see it, and as well as the city, because it's gotta be something else that's gonna stir up the traffic in that small town. And then we do have teachers and students that are sick with COVID. Continue to pray for them. Some are doing fairly well, some are not. So ask for continued prayers for all of those who are suffering with it. And on another note, on the one we talked about at the school, she has her negative test, and she's going to school tomorrow, okay?
Hot dog.
That's right.
I saw that.
Okay, Mr. Reed.
Well, just to reiterate, I congratulate all the schools that have earned the 5-star. It's great. We'll celebrate the other schools next time, but very proud of them. And I know a little more this month than I did last month. Maybe I can earn a nameplate. But
Have some duct tape.
The backlog is not fun, believe it or not. It does get everywhere.
Well, wouldn't you hate to be the person that orders that and makes that right now?
Okay, Mr. Ayers.
Really excited about our level 5 schools. That's amazing. I hope we can get that story in the Times on the front page. That would be great, wouldn't it? I'm proud of all the work that goes on behind the scenes. It's making our kids able to go to school every day, and I hope we all can see this year how much of a blessing it is, because it's something we all definitely took for granted beforehand. I saw an article the other day about school systems struggling with how are they going to use these ESSER funds and what are they going to do with them. And I'm really glad we've got a Dr. Hollingsworth guiding it. Like that's because not only are we going to get to spend this money, each one of those dollars, you're turning them into opportunities. And it's not just the money; it's how it's going to grow our students. And I'm really proud of that. Thank you for that. But just another day to be proud of Roberts County Schools.
Absolutely. Mr. Hurd.
Started to make a statement like the FFA advisor would be saying, being older and wiser and being here 20 years on the board, I have heard this TVOS scores for 20 years. I've thought about Danny Weeks in the old room at the old place on our planning sessions that were not on the night of the board meeting, and talking about our scores. After 20 years, we've finally seen the success. And when the first 11 schools were announced, or that we had 11, I sat there and I said, well, this one, this one, this one, this one. And I didn't have either one of East Robertson schools. And it is a big surprise and blessing that we've made it. We've come a long way. I told Ms. Cook that, and Ms. Nikki, we have something to be proud of, that we're going in the right direction in the eastern part of the county. But very proud. On another note, I want us to always keep keep our folks and our friends, southwest communities in our hearts and prayers. Humphreys County, Waverly, those folks are still struggling. I hope that we'll be able to help them in other ways. I know that a lot of our athletic facilities have collected money and helping them out, but they're going to need a lot from here on out. So
Our Family Resource Center has collected some things and already taken down some things, that even our virtual school got involved, so, definitely, all hands on deck to.
I'm proud to see that after 3 floods that they are finally deciding to move their school out of floodplain, so. That's all I've got.
Well, you know, when you mentioned that, I think I heard somewhere that, you know, they had buses that were not, you know, that were damaged, they couldn't use. And other counties started trying to offer them, here, I've got a bus, or I've got a bus. And their response was, we don't have a school to take them to. And that made me think how fortunate we are in Robertson County. We have schools to take our kids to. We have hard-working people in those schools every day, and I just appreciate it all. So that's it. You guys have done a good job with your comments, and I appreciate all of them. So with that being said, the meeting is adjourned.
Give me just one